Last week I talked about how the world is our classroom and shared some great quotes called universal lessons from Gabby Bernstein's book, The Universe Has My Back. And so tonight I'm going to continue with those universal lessons and explaining how we can be instruments for love. Universal lesson. When you experience someone's true presence, you're reminded of your own. We have a powerful capacity to heal ourselves and others through love. I believe it's ultimately why we are here on this planet. And I think it's why we do our spiritual growth work, to be able to truly see ourselves and others through a beautiful lens of love. In the final chapter of her book, Gabrielle Bernstein talks about how she was struggling with the horrible gun violence that is happening every week in our country. She explains how it made her so angry and she felt this strong urge to fight back. So she started posting about it on Facebook. And to her shock, she received opposite responses from women who felt they needed guns to protect their families. This made her even more angry. And she started telling her husband how insane these responses were and that she was going to post again on Facebook to express her viewpoint. Then her husband stopped her and asked, "How's that going to help? Your negative post is only going to fuel the fire. Aren't you all about facing adversity with love?" And she said, "You're right. I cannot fuel this fear with anger. I must be an instrument for love." So my question to us tonight is, how do we become instruments for love? And how do we affect this change in our lives? I think there are many ways to do this, but the three I want to talk about are: 1, wake up; 2, claim your power; and 3, be the dreamer of your dream. So being an instrument for love requires that we wake up. Emmett Fox said, "There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, and no door that enough love will not open." Very simply, there is nothing in this world that enough love can't heal. If we all believed and acted as if this was true, we would live in a really different world, wouldn't we? When we can see the world with pure love, then huge shifts and transformations can occur. But there can be no understanding of love until we discover it within ourselves. I can't love anyone until I begin to love myself. And I'm not referring to self-centeredness or self-absorption. That's not love. What we have to discover is an unconditional and divine gift, always flowing to us and always available. And once we come into that sense of that self-love, the knowledge of wholeness, then automatically that love shows up all around us. That's the way love works. It sees everything as the one life lived in diverse and beautiful ways. Joan Borsenko is a psychologist, and she writes a lot about health and healing, wellness, and spirituality. She used to live here in Colorado in a small mountain town outside of Boulder. And she writes about her experience one morning when she was out walking and kind of blind to all the beauty that was around her because she was about to drive to Boulder to undergo a breast biopsy. And so as she was walking, in her own words, she said, "I was reviewing the menu of calamitous medical possibilities that might materialize. As my mind slid into well-worn patterns of awfulizing, it gathered momentum." She said she was rudely awakened from her toxic reverie by a searing pain in her hindquarters. She had been completely oblivious to the approach of a large German Shepherd dog that consequently bit her on the behind. So then her mental movie started to go to visions of her in the Boulder emergency room, getting stitches in her butt and being injected with huge doses of tetanus and rabies vaccines. Then she would miss her biopsy and she'd have to endure that on yet another day. So she darts into the bushes to check out what she is sure is a massive injury and realizes that the skin is unbroken and there's just a small red welt. And I quote what she said, "Suddenly, the entire scene seemed hysterically funny to me. The dog was transformed from a nasty beast into a divine messenger. Wake up, you silly human. Feel the sun on your face and the wind in your hair. You're alive and the world is beautiful. The mountains are magnificent and the day is young. There are endless possibilities to experience and worlds to create. I was overwhelmed with the gratitude of the gift of life. And the grateful ending to this story, by the way, is that the biopsy turned out to be negative. I love this story because it's a reminder to me of what is it going to take for me to get out of my story and into the field of love. I have found that whenever I start awfulizing or focusing on fear and worry, I try to shift my focus to all the things that are good in my life and all the things for which I'm grateful. And then inevitably, that shifts me back into the vibration of love, which leads us to the second way to be an instrument for love, which is to claim your power. Universal lesson: your presence is your power. Sometimes this can feel kind of counterintuitive because claiming our power requires us to be vulnerable and authentic. I think as humans, we often find vulnerability a struggle because it's about getting real and letting all the parts of us hang out, not just the nice, shiny, pretty parts. I often feel safest when I can present the neat, tidy, organized, structured, on-time part of me, which is really only one part of me. Can I be vulnerable enough to show the other disorganized, messy, what the heck side of me as well? Am I afraid to go there because I fear that if people see this side of me, they won't like me? Sometimes it feels risky, doesn't it? I often feel vulnerability through default. Some situation or conflict or pattern forces me to a point where I am required to show up with humility, honesty, and a level of realness. This vulnerability opens the door for huge shifts into authenticity, which is a powerful way to claim our power. Gabrielle Bernstein formulated this prayer about her experience with expressing anger on Facebook. I recognize my anger and I honor my reaction to the darkness. I know my true power lies in my capacity to be the light. I call on the energy and the thoughts of love to pour through me and inspire me to take action from a place of true power. Part of authenticity is realizing that we are not pawns on a chessboard or victims of circumstance. We are responsible for our own lives and our own successes. No one else can take our turn at this game we call life. We get a turn at the game of life whenever we choose, and by being authentic and vulnerable, we can make choices in alignment with what we have come here to be as the expressions of our own true power. A great story of someone claiming their power is the story of David Rabin, who was a professor of medicine at Vanderbilt University. When going through medical school, the disease that he found most frightening was Lou Gehrig's disease. Ironically, when he was just 46, Rabin himself was diagnosed with ALS. He knew exactly what would happen. Eventually, he experienced stiffness in his legs, which turned to paralysis of all his limbs. His tongue lost the ability to function. He obviously couldn't treat his patients anymore or even go to the hospital. He would have had a brilliant academic career, and now he couldn't even turn the pages of a book. But there is one thing he wouldn't surrender, and that was the power of his spirit. He heard about a computer that could be operated by a single switch, and he had strength in just one part of his body, and that was his eyebrow. So with his eyebrow, he operated the computer and he could speak to his family, tell jokes to his friends, write papers, and review manuscripts. He went on to publish a comprehensive textbook on endocrinology and received a prestigious award for his work. And he did this when the only thing he could control was a single eyebrow. He said, "Sickness may challenge your body, but you are not merely your body. Lameness may impede your legs, but you are not merely your legs. Your will is bigger than your legs, for your will is always under your control." David Rabin had a spirit that would not give up, and one eyebrow was enough to serve the world. He claimed his true power and did amazing things with what he had. Your body is not you. Your job is not you. Your success, reputation, and possessions are not you. What people think of you is not you. Your circumstances and limitations are not you. The great mystic poet Rumi said, "Take sips of this pure wine being poured. Don't mind that you've been given a dirty cup." We can always ask ourselves not what we've lost, but what do we have left, and where can we right now step into our true power? Our presence is our power. Which brings us to the third way we can be instruments for love, which is by remembering that we are the dreamers of our dream. Universal lesson: look for love in all the right places. The essence of New Thought and Science of Mind teaching is that God expresses in us and as us, that God is ultimately love and love is all there is. And since we are made in the image and likeness of God, and since we are the universe expressing as us, then that same love is also who we are. And so to hold each other in the light of love and see one another as God would see us, as beloved beings, worthy of unconditional love, treasured and adored. Being an instrument of love, then, is understanding this and really believing it to the very depths and core of our being. And this is exactly what Mile High's mission and vision is. Our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. What if we embodied this on a personal level and became exactly that? We would be instruments for love, wouldn't we? What would it look like for us to wake up to our true power, the power of unconditional love? The key to our power is our capacity to lead from a place of love. Once we can accept the light within us, we will light up the world. No matter what happens to us in this world, addiction, trauma, change, hurt, the beautiful truth of who we are never changes. The peace of love will never leave us. I want to end with something that Oprah said in her book, What I Know for Sure. When you make loving others the story of your life, there's never a final chapter because the legacy continues. You lend your light to one person, and he or she shines it on another and another and another. And what I know for sure is that in the final analysis of our lives, when the to-do lists are no more, when the frenzy is finished, when our email boxes are completely empty, the only thing that will have any lasting value is whether we've loved others and whether they've loved us. All we have to do is choose love, spread light, and know that the universe has our back. Let us pray. And so as we move into this time of prayer, we just allow ourselves to feel the stillness, to feel the powerful presence of the divine, to know that God is love, to know that we are love, and to feel that just radiating and emanating from every single part of our being. So in this moment, I just connect with that love, allowing it to be who I am, allowing it to be who I express as, and simply knowing that this is the truth for every single one of us. We are these amazing, divine emanations of spirit. We are love personified. And each and every one of us carries this light into the world. And so the truth is that we are this light. We carry this light. And I know that we shine it so very brightly. And from this space, I know that there is healing that happens. There is reconciliation that happens. There is forgiveness that happens. And when kindness and compassion lead the way, our lives and those of all of those around us are absolutely magnificently transformed. And so I just allow this to be. I know this truth for myself and for every single person on this planet, that we are love, and we are love expressed. and expressing. And so it's just with great gratitude that I release these truths and this prayer into that amazing alchemy of love and law, absolutely knowing that all is well, because all is God, and so it is.